Hi girls, this morning we're going to be talking about density, which is another way to describe matter. When I think of density, I think of these two pictures. If you look at the picture on the left, you'll see that this is a very crowded city where lots of people live in a very small amount of space. And if you look at the picture on the right, you'll see the countryside, which is where very few people live, and they have a huge amount of space. So the city is more densely populated, we might say. Or we could also say that the country is less densely populated. It means that for every square mile, there are fewer people in the country than there are in the city. So a way that we talk about matter is that if matter has a density that's very high, that means that all the atoms in it are packed very tightly together, so there's not much space between them. And if matter is not very dense, it means that even though it's still made of atoms, the atoms are not packed as tightly together, and there's more space between them. The way we calculate density is we find the mass of the object. So remember, the mass has to do with how many atoms are in something. And then we divide that by the amount of space that mass takes up. So if you look at this, you'll see that this cube is 1 centimeter on every side. So its volume is going to be 1 cubic centimeter if we multiply side by side by side. And then the reason it's sitting on a scale is so that this person can find its mass. So they can figure out how many atoms are packed into this 1 cubic centimeter cube. If you take the mass of the cube and divide it by how much space it takes up, you will know how much mass per unit volume it has. Density is measured in units of grams per cubic centimeter. So that means how many grams are there of matter in every cubic centimeter of space. Similar to that, of course, we can find the density of any object as long as we can figure out what its mass is and what its volume is. But sometimes we don't want to know the exact density of a substance. We just want to know, is it more dense or less dense than something else? And an easy way to do this is, or a way people use this often is with liquids, trying to figure out what liquids are more dense than others. So here you can see someone has poured a bunch of different things into a cylinder, and you'll be able to tell easily that these liquids have separated themselves based on density. So the honey is the most dense, and the oil, or the lamp oil, is the least dense. That means that honey has more mass per unit volume than lamp oil does. The particles in honey are packed very closely together, very tightly together, whereas the particles in lamp oil are more spread apart and there's more space between them. So, as we just said, calculating exact density is done by taking the mass in grams and dividing it by the volume. And as we just talked about, relative density can be seen using like a density column like this one. So you're now going to do some activities over the next couple days that are going to help you think about and apply these ideas.